Part 2 of Season 2 of Wednesday begins with Wednesday lying unconscious on her bed while her father and mother sit beside her to check on her, her mother feeling guilty about what happened. And after she and Gomez leave, Wednesday regains consciousness and is shocked to see Principal Weems standing in front of her. When she steps out of the room, she finds herself in a forest filled with several doors. Weems keeps talking to her and reveals that she will be her spiritual guide because they share a family bond that goes back to the 13th ancestor. Weems's mission is to help her regain the powers she lost. As usual, Wednesday treats her with coldness and indifference, and Weems explains that she lost her powers because she abused them. Then she wakes her up from the dream. Afterward, we see Judy, who is acting as the interim head of Willow Hill Asylum, holding a press conference announcing that they will deal with the escaped patients who happen to be Fester Addams, Tyler Galpin, and a half-dead, half-alive creature or zombie. After the press conference, Judy receives a call from her assistant who tells her he has taken care of all the escapees except for Louise. Judy instructs him that Louise must be found and eliminated immediately. Later, Judy goes to Wednesday at the hospital, warning her not to interfere in the asylum's matters again and telling her that the hospital is an inheritance from her father and very precious to her. Wednesday ignores her and leaves. At that moment, she receives a message from someone telling her that she and Enid's lives will end today. Meanwhile, Tyler is at the hospital, and Wednesday tries to chase him, but he manages to escape. Wednesday returns to her room with Enid, only to be surprised that Principal Weems is already there waiting for her. We realize that Wednesday is the only one who can see Principal Weems. Wednesday asks Enid to pack her things and go back home because Tyler intends to end both their lives, but Enid insists on staying by Wednesday's side, telling her she will never leave her. And although Wednesday says she wants to save her, Enid tells her she doesn't need anyone to save her. Then she walks out. That day happens to be the Day of the Dead, and we understand why when Weems appeared to act as Wednesday's spiritual guide. Wednesday asks if she can restore the powers she lost, but Weems replies that she isn't a genie, and Wednesday has to figure out the way herself. Their conversation is interrupted by Principal Dort, who is handing out t-shirts to students in order to gain popularity. He congratulates everyone on the Day of the Dead, which also coincides with the Outcasts' Memorial Day, and from his words, it's clear he is a materialistic man, obsessed with money, something that disgusts Weems. Wednesday asks Dort to cancel the party he is hosting that night because the Hyde creature is on the loose and could cause countless deaths, yet the greedy principal refuses since he expects to collect large donations. Meanwhile, Judy's assistant is searching for the Hyde, Tyler, intending to take him down along with the other escapees. But Tyler suddenly appears behind him and kills him. The zombie hears the noise and enters to feast on Judy's assistant's brain. At that same time, Wednesday is at her mother's house searching for information about Thornhill with Weems advising her. Morticia appears and asks Wednesday who she's talking to. Wednesday says she's talking to herself, but Morticia senses a spirit's presence. Weems moves a book toward Morticia, and she reads about an organic formula created by Thornhill, clearly connected to Tyler Galpin. Morticia objects to Wednesday's involvement in the case, but Wednesday tells her she must find a solution to everything that has happened. At that time, Enid is sitting with Bruno, thinking about how they can help Wednesday. Then Enid comes up with an idea and goes straight to Thing, asking him to help her in order to reactivate the nightshades. Indeed, he delivers the first message to Ajax to gather at night. Agnes witnesses everything. Meanwhile, that evening, Sheriff Santiago is investigating what happened to Judy's assistant's corpse and concludes that Tyler is working with the zombie because the body devoured by the zombie shows Tyler's claw marks. Later that night, Gomez attends the festival with his son Pugsley, and at the same time, the zombie is also present at the event. Elsewhere, Wednesday is sitting trying to find a solution when suddenly Agnes appears and tells her an important piece of information, that the members of the Nightshades are gathering that night. We see them assembled. Ajax tells Enid that she has no right to call the Nightshades because she isn't a member, but Wednesday appears behind them and tells them they must work together to stop Tyler because he intends to end both her life and Enid's. After that, Wednesday goes to collect the Nightshade plant, a formula Thornhill had written about. Through this formula, Wednesday believes she can become Tyler's master, his mistress, and thereby control him. Weems appears to Wednesday and objects to what she is doing, telling her she should be protecting Enid instead of using her as bait to lure Tyler. Yet Wednesday insists on her plan, but Weems warns her that Tyler ended Thornhill's life and could end hers too. Still, Wednesday ignores her and walks away. In truth, Wednesday is doing this to protect Enid. Meanwhile, the zombie is at the party snacking on some of the guests. Chaos erupts, and Pugsley realizes the zombie is present, so he asks his father to go inside and confirm whether the creature is really there. Indeed, when Pugsley goes inside, he discovers that the zombie has turned human and can even speak. The zombie asks Pugsley to let him escape because they are friends and he needs his help. When the zombie walks out, he exchanges a look of astonishment with Gomez, and we will later learn why that happened, dear viewer. So if you've made it this far, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel. Anyway, Pugsley comes out and tells his father he didn't find the zombie and that no one was inside. Still, Gomez embraces him. Meanwhile, at Morticia's house, Louise, one of the escaped inmates, appears and talks with her. We find out that Louise and Morticia shared an old friendship. Louise tells Morticia that Tyler is her son and that she was once married to Sheriff Galpin, Tyler's father, and she asks Morticia to help her son. Elsewhere Wednesday, and the Nightshades are waiting for Tyler to arrive. Enid steps out to act as the bait. Tyler chases after her, intending to kill her. And if you wonder why he wants her dead, dear viewer, it is because she defeated him in the first season and was the reason he was locked in the asylum. The Nightshades surround Tyler, and we learn from their words that his strength is weakening because he killed his former master, Thornhill. At that moment, Wednesday appears with the organic compound, intending to inject it into Tyler and become his new mistress. But just as she is about to do it, another Hyde creature appears. It is about to finish Wednesday off when Morticia steps in and tells the new Hyde that they have an agreement. The new Hyde spares Wednesday, takes Tyler, and leaves. It is worth noting the new Hyde is female. And from Wednesday's conversation with Morticia, we learn that this new Hyde is Tyler's mother. Morticia objects to Wednesday's reckless actions, while Wednesday warns her and says she was wrong to trust Louise, Tyler's mother, because as a Hyde, she can never be trusted. Finally, Tyler is reunited with his mother, discovering after so many years that she is still alive. Meanwhile, the zombie shows up at Judy's house, looking ready to finish her off. On the other side, Enid is training when she suddenly transforms into a werewolf, and her teacher Capri realizes that Enid has shifted on a night when the moon isn't even full. Episode 2 begins with a scene stranger than fiction. We see Wednesday putting on colorful makeup and wearing bright clothes, acting as if she were Enid, appearing before all the students and behaving in a very social way, completely opposite to her nature, with a voiceover of Enid saying, "Admit it, this is Wednesday Addams as you never wanted to see her." And to understand what led her here, we go back 36 hours earlier, where Enid, Wednesday, and her family are attending an inquiry with Dort and Santiago. The principal scolds Enid and orders her to leave, while Wednesday blames him and reminds him she had warned him Tyler would be there. Meanwhile, Morticia says we shouldn't fear the Hyde because in reality, Louise is her friend, Francoise, from high school days, and she had promised never to return to town again, neither she nor Tyler, since she is now Tyler's mistress. Afterward, Weems appears to Wednesday and tells her that she not only caused the release of one Hyde, but two, and therefore it is her responsibility to find a solution to save Enid from them, because otherwise things will never end. She also urges her to repair her relationship with her family. Later, Wednesday asks the professor about Francoise. He tells her that Francoise had once been his student, and that she is the sister of Isaac, the most brilliant and gifted student he had ever known at Nevermore. Then he recounts the story of Isaac we learned in part 1 of this season, how he built a secret laboratory in Iago Tower, or the Clock Tower, and later caused his own death and was buried under a tree. From this, we realize Isaac is the zombie, dear viewer. So pay attention because the upcoming events will be explosive. Immediately, Wednesday goes to her brother Pugsley and asks him about the zombie. She tells him it is Isaac Knight and that she must find him at once. Pugsley tells her the last time he saw him was during the celebrations, and he also gives her a picture he had picked up. When Wednesday looks at it, she concludes that Isaac must be searching for his sister. We then move to Tyler and his mother Francoise. He is shocked that she is still alive since he attended her funeral himself. She explains that the doctor lied to them and declared her dead because she had been taken for experimentation. And we learn that the doctor who wanted to experiment on her was none other than Judy's father, tying all the threads together, dear viewer. Francoise then tells Tyler that she has become his mistress and he must respect her. Meanwhile, Capri visits Enid in her room and tells her she saw her transforming into a werewolf, which means she could be an alpha. Being an alpha wolf would give her immense strength, but at the same time, if she transformed under a full moon, she would remain a wolf forever and never return to her human form. Enid is frightened, but Capri reassures her that there is a way to control it. At this moment, Wednesday goes to speak with her grandmother, asking about Aunt Ophelia and telling her about Francoise and her son Tyler, explaining that now there are 2 Hydes roaming free, which is a serious threat. She asks her grandmother to help her regain her powers because she needs them to face the Hydes. The grandmother directs her to the grave of Rootwood, saying she must go there and connect with her to find the solution. When Wednesday leaves, Enid talks to her about joining her in the dance performance for the upcoming school celebration and also asks her to share her plan, but Wednesday hides it from her, refusing to take her along and going out alone. Of course, Wednesday does this because she is afraid for Enid, but Enid decides to follow her and convince her to join the party. Wednesday arrives at Rootwood's grave, recites the incantations, and successfully manages to connect with her by reading the words inscribed on the tombstone. Wednesday asks Rootwood to give her powers back. Rootwood tells her to place her hand on the fire and she will regain her abilities temporarily, but there will be a price to pay. At that moment, Enid appears and grabs Wednesday's arm, and both of them lose consciousness at the same time. The next morning, Wednesday and Enid are horrified by what happened because they discover their bodies have been switched. Enid is now in Wednesday's body, and Wednesday is in Enid's body. From this moment on, dear viewer, we will call Wednesday Enid and Enid Wednesday until they return to their original selves. Enid in Wednesday's body begs Wednesday to find a solution because she cannot stand being in her body for long, while Wednesday tells her she too cannot tolerate living in this colorful body for long. So she decides to return again to Rootwood's grave. Wednesday asks Enid to behave normally until she comes back. Agnes notices that Wednesday, who is actually Enid, is acting strangely and is surprised when she orders a colorful drink. This causes Enid to break out in a rash because she is allergic to colors. Morticia appears and gives her an ointment that helps her feel better. Meanwhile, Wednesday in Enid's body goes to Rootwood's grave, where Weems appears and warns her not to repeat the same ritual, also telling her she must return to her original body, because if she doesn't, both Wednesday and Enid will die once 24 hours have passed. Elsewhere, we see Isaac finally reaching Francoise and revealing to her that he is still alive, though at first she doesn't believe him and points a gun at him. Eventually, she is convinced and hugs him, even telling Tyler to welcome his genius uncle Isaac. Francoise is struck by a weakness that makes her cough up blood, and she explains to Tyler the cause of her illness. This illness afflicts Hydes. The immense power they possess comes at a price, shortening their lifespan and causing their lives to end prematurely. But Isaac tells them he has taken care of Judy and can now access Willow Hill Asylum to use the machine there to help Francoise heal and recover. Meanwhile, Wednesday is playing music to clear her mind when Professor Capri walks in, astonished at her talent, believing she is Enid rather than Wednesday. Capri tells her she must lock herself in the iron cage once night falls because it's the only safe way to avoid permanently turning into a wolf. The goal is to stop her from transforming under the full moon. Wednesday then notices a picture of Rootwood and realizes she once lived in Morticia's house, so she decides to go there and search for any clues. She finds a secret door leading to the Chamber of the Dead, where Rootwood tells her that the only way to return to her own body is to be willing to die inside this foreign one. Morticia suddenly appears. Assuming Enid has been sent by Wednesday to spy on her, she throws her out and tells her to inform Wednesday to attend family dinner. Meanwhile, Enid, in the room, is rummaging through some belongings and finds Wednesday's journal. Discovering that Wednesday has written terrible things about her, describing her as a shallow, silly girl obsessed with social media and appearances, completely superficial, Enid becomes furious and decides to get revenge on Wednesday by dressing in colorful clothes, just as we saw earlier, and dancing in front of all the students, who are shocked to see Wednesday acting in such a way. After a while, she begins itching because of her allergy to colors, and the moment Wednesday sees her like this, she becomes extremely angry. After a while, Wednesday discovers Bruno's betrayal of Enid when she overhears him talking to his girlfriend in the Philippines. She shocks him by revealing she can understand and speak Filipino, which leaves him stunned. And she tells him this means she's breaking up with him. Of course, Bruno thinks it is Enid ending the relationship. Capri then arrives and urges her to get to the cage quickly, or her life will be in danger. All of this happens under Agnes's watchful eyes. She goes to Enid's room and asks why she is acting this way, believing she is talking to Wednesday, surprised that Wednesday is behaving so strangely. Agnes mentions that Enid has broken up with Bruno and is spending nights in werewolf protection cages. This makes Enid furious and even angrier when Agnes speaks poorly about her. So Enid lashes out, calling her a pathetic sycophant and telling her to disappear forever, which deeply wounds Agnes. Of course, dear viewer, I remind you, Agnes thinks she is speaking to Wednesday, not Enid. Later, Enid attends the family dinner while still in Wednesday's body. A conversation begins between her and Morticia. Morticia senses Weems's spirit and demands she reveal herself. Weems appears and tells Morticia everything, explaining that Wednesday went to Rootwood's grave, that her body was swapped with Enid's, and the biggest proof is that the Enid sitting with them now cannot see her. We learn they have only until morning to fix this situation. Otherwise, their lives will end before dawn, meaning both Enid and Wednesday. Meanwhile, at the professor's office, Isaac shows up to take his revenge. He decides to devour the professor's brain so that his human growth will be complete. Agnes witnesses this, screams, and vanishes, while Isaac absorbs the professor's energy source and walks away. We then learn that Isaac took the energy source to use it at Willow Hill Asylum, since the power was out in that cursed place. He, Tyler, and Francoise drive there in the car, with Agnes managing to hide inside the trunk. Meanwhile, Enid goes to Wednesday and tells her they must switch their bodies back before dawn. At that moment, Agnes calls them and reveals she is trapped in the trunk with Isaac, Tyler, and Francoise. She sends them her location so they can come and save the situation. Wednesday realizes they are heading to Willow Hill Asylum. At the asylum, Isaac prepares to treat Francoise, the treatment being to strip her of her ability to transform and make her fully human. Tyler notices someone suspicious and manages to capture Enid, locking her in a cell. This happens just as Wednesday and Enid arrive. Wednesday rushes in to save Agnes, while at the same time the procedure on Francoise is beginning. A fight breaks out with Tyler, and the girls manage to stop the treatment. Tyler is about to punish them, but Wednesday, still in Enid's body, transforms into a wolf and succeeds in overpowering him. Then the girls quickly escape before the lab explodes, and indeed, they succeed in getting out, dear viewer. Once outside, Agnes finally understands everything and realizes it was Enid who spoke to her in the room, happy to know she is still friends with Wednesday now. Finally Wednesday, and Enid return to Rootwood's grave and successfully reverse the body swap, each of them returning to her natural form. Wednesday tells Enid to go take a shower. Then Weems leads Wednesday to a grave where she discovers that the one destined to die is a member of the Addams family, not her friend Enid as she had feared. Episode 7 opens with a flashback 15 years earlier, where we see a young Principal Dort inside a tavern called Morning Song, meeting a struggling actor named Arnold Hunt. Dort proposes a clever idea to Arnold, telling him he wants to build a school for outcasts and needs Arnold to be the face of it because of his good looks and charm. Arnold would be the one in the spotlight, the public figure, while Dort would secretly be the one pulling the strings from behind the scenes. In the present, Santiago investigates what happened to the professor and informs Principal Dort that she will be responsible for securing Nevermore. Meanwhile, Wednesday tells her friends that it is a member of the Addams family whose life is fated to end, not Enid as she had thought. She confronts her parents about hiding the truth of Isaac. Morticia and Gomez reveal his story, that he was their friend when they were younger and obsessed with science. Gomez admits he had no idea Isaac was the zombie until he saw him at the festival. Wednesday explains that he is no longer a zombie, but now a fully formed man, making him an even greater threat. Afterward, Wednesday speaks with her mother privately, telling her that one of the Addams family members is destined to die, and joking that she wants to sacrifice Pugsley. At school, we see Enid talking with Professor Capri, who warns her about transforming into an alpha wolf under the full moon, because if she does, she will remain in wolf form forever, and the other werewolves will hunt her down and destroy her. So she must follow protocol and lock herself in the cages at nightfall. Meanwhile, Isaac, Tyler, and Francoise are at their hideout when they realize Francoise's treatment has run out, so they decide to head back to the asylum to get more. Wednesday keeps searching until she finally locates their hideout, realizing they had left to get more treatment. When she returns to school, she finds her grandmother there and asks if she is really going to donate to Dort. The grandmother shocks her by saying she won't give him a single penny and will enjoy watching the look of despair on his face. Indeed, when Dort presents her with a tempting offer, promising to dedicate a large part of the school in her family's name, she refuses and tells him she won't donate a cent, but Dort has a backup plan. He manipulates Bianca into enchanting her and convincing her to donate all her fortune to him. The next morning, Wednesday, and the family are stunned to learn that the grandmother is pledging her entire wealth to Principal Dort. Wednesday immediately suspects something is wrong and realizes Dort must have exploited Bianca to cast a spell on her grandmother. She rushes to confront Bianca, challenging her to a duel until she defeats her and forces her to confess. Bianca reveals everything, admitting that the principal used her to enchant the grandmother. But in a sudden moment of distraction, Bianca successfully enchants Wednesday, making her forget everything that was said. Fortunately, Agnes was present and overheard it all, later recounting the truth to Wednesday. When Wednesday demands she show herself, she is stunned to see Agnes dressed exactly like her, claiming she is just a copy, not the original. That night, Principal Dort confronts Bianca with Arnold, who turns out to be her father. Arnold demands his share of the profits, but Dort refuses to give him anything. Tensions rise until Dort burns Arnold alive in front of Bianca. Afterward comes the time of the grand party, where the grandmother is supposed to donate the money, and where Enid is also expected to perform her dance. Wednesday asks Bianca to trust her and insists on speaking with her. Meanwhile, Enid is waiting for Bruno to join her at the party after they reconciled. But the girl Bruno has been cheating with shows up. Enid tells her she won't compete over Bruno because that's not her nature and walks away, sitting sadly by herself until Agnes appears. Also heartbroken because Wednesday had hurt her feelings. She admits she only ever wished to be like Wednesday. But Enid tells her that one Wednesday is enough for this world and assures Agnes that she is special in her own way, that her true self is far better than being just a copy of Wednesday. Agnes decides to embrace her own nature. At the same time, Pugsley steps out of the party and we see Isaac lurking nearby watching him. Wednesday asks Enid for help and tells Agnes that includes her too, complimenting her outfit and saying she finally looks unique. Agnes replies that Wednesday's opinion doesn't matter to her anymore, to which Wednesday answers, good. Enid then begins her dance performance alongside Agnes, clearly designed in the show to become a trending TikTok challenge. During the performance, Agnes uses her power of invisibility as part of the choreography, sneaks away, and steals the artifact the principal uses to protect himself from Bianca's magic. As the dance ends, Bianca takes the microphone and calls Principal Dort and Morticia to the stage. She enchants the principal and forces him to confess the truth to everyone present. And indeed, dear viewer, he admits that he ordered Bianca to enchant Morticia to make her donate a large sum, and when that failed, he ordered Bianca to bewitch grandmother Hester Frump to give away her entire fortune. He also admits that he had promised Gideon, or Arnold, that he would split the money with him. And now Arnold is dead, burned alive. The principal then threatens to kill Bianca, but Ajax steps in to play his part, turning the principal into stone. A massive chandelier crashes down on him, finishing him off. After all this, the family feels proud of Wednesday. Suddenly, Eugene arrives to tell them that Isaac is in the Nevermore cemetery and has Pugsley captive. Wednesday rushes there to save her brother, but when she arrives, she cannot find him. Then we see Wednesday speaking with Morticia and Weems, the latter telling them they must combine their psychic powers with the grandmother's in order to locate Pugsley and save him. They sit together and unite their abilities. Wednesday sees a vision of her parents burying Isaac in the grave. When she wakes, she confronts her mother and demands the truth. Morticia tells her that Isaac had invented a machine to strip Françoise of her powers and make her human again, but the machine malfunctioned and required a strong energy source. Since Gomez was Isaac's closest friend and shared the same powers as Pugsley, Isaac decided to use his strength, but betrayed him by draining his energy completely, even though he knew it would end Gomez's life. He even dug a grave for him himself. During the process, the machine malfunctioned, resulting in Isaac's own death and Gomez losing his powers as an outcast. As punishment, Isaac was buried in the very grave he had dug for Gomez. Wednesday realizes Isaac intends to use Pugsley as an energy source, just as he once did with Gomez. She quickly sets out to rescue her brother. Isaac sends a message through Eugene, asking to meet her at midnight at the grave. Wednesday goes to face him, setting up a trap of arrows with Thing, assigned to release them at the right moment. But Thing misses, and Isaac is unharmed. Tyler locks Thing in a glass box. Isaac then removes the glove from his hand and explains to Wednesday that Thing is actually his severed hand, cut off during one of his experiments by Morticia. Since then, Thing became part of the Addams family. Finally, Isaac stitches Thing back onto his arm, restoring him to his original form. Afterward, he pushes Wednesday into the grave and buries her with dirt until she disappears beneath the ground. All this happens under Agnes's watchful eyes as she rushes to Enid for help. Enid doesn't hesitate and runs with her to save Wednesday, digging frantically at the grave, realizing her current strength isn't enough to free Wednesday in time and that her life is about to end. She makes the choice to transform into a wolf, even though the moon is full, condemning herself to remain a wolf forever. With this power, she manages to dig Wednesday out, reviving her. Wednesday opens her eyes and remarks that she enjoyed the experience, but when she sees Enid permanently transformed into a werewolf, she is shocked. Agnes explains there was no other way to save her. Enid runs away, and Wednesday asks Agnes to track her. Meanwhile, Isaac, Francoise, and Tyler arrive at the Clock Tower lab. Isaac uses his new hand's power to activate the lab. They chain Pugsley to a chair, and the shocking twist is revealed. Francoise and Isaac are doing this to save Tyler. Their goal is to strip him of his Hyde powers, fulfilling Isaac's promise to his sister Francoise. At the same time, Morticia arrives with Wednesday, and they all head to the lab to rescue Pugsley. The procedure begins, but Wednesday appears just in time to break Tyler's restraints. He transforms into a Hyde and strikes Isaac unconscious. Wednesday frees her brother while Tyler also lashes out at his mother. Forcing Francoise to reveal her Hyde form, a brutal battle follows, ultimately ending with the lab exploding just as it had years before. The family defeats Isaac with the help of Thing, who, once reminded that he is part of the Addams family, harnesses the strength of family and friendship to attack Isaac relentlessly until he rips out his mechanical heart. Thing is finally freed and returns as Wednesday's loyal companion. Agnes tells Wednesday she has found where Enid is. Elsewhere, Capri approaches Tyler and tells him she will help him learn to control his Hyde powers. As for Morticia and Wednesday, Weems bids them farewell, telling them her role is finally complete. Wednesday decides not to return home, but instead to set off on her own path to find her dearest friend Enid. At that moment, Wednesday's powers return through a vision of Aunt Ophelia, whose mystery remains unsolved. Yet one last secret is unveiled. The grandmother is keeping Ophelia locked in a secluded room, and we see written on the wall the chilling words, "Wednesday must die." The season ends with Wednesday declaring, "I am determined to unearth every lie and every deception, or die trying." What a story, dear viewer. Truly a tale with a lesson. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Farewell.